And for everybody joining us for the first time, welcome to the first ever Uninterrupted Film Festival. Uninterrupted is the brainchild of LeBron James and Maverick Carter, and is the pioneering athlete empowerment brand and platform that exists to help athletes tell their honest and authentic stories and to celebrate their accomplishments both on and off the field. I am Andrew Hawkins, your host for today. I'm a former NFL wide receiver, and I started here at Uninterrupted in late 2016 as the first unpaid athlete intern. And here we are 7 years later, where I've worked my way up to regular intern and unpaid MC. So keep working hard. This year, Uninterrupted and Tribeca have partnered for this first of its kind athlete film festival to honor and showcase storytelling and filmmaking at the highest level in sports media. And we had an incredible first block of programming, and the second block will not disappoint. We will continue to highlight the biggest names and the greatest content pieces in the modern sports media landscape. We'll begin this second block with an incredible state of the game chat that will introduce a brand new production studio, and then we'll move in to a US premiere for a documentary from our friends north of the border. Before we get into that, we got some housekeeping. At the end of this block, we will ask you to exit the screening room. Go ahead, get some fresh air, get something to eat, grab something to drink, hit up our blue carpet, take some pictures, do videos, do some gifts. Make sure you tag us at Uninterrupted. If you have tickets to the live Draymond Green podcast, the doors will open at 6:15. And if you don't, you can head over to Studio B, where you'll get an exclusive sneak peek at Amazon's new documentary about the NBA G League. And remember, if you have access to Studio A and anything in here, you also get access to Studio B. There's incredible programming there. And if you have questions about the schedule, this QR code at the top of the screen will be your guide. Hit it up, see what we got going. So as many of you may have heard, last month, Joel Embiid and Spring Hill announced a new partnership to create content through a brand new studio called Miniature Géant. We are lucky enough to have them here today to pull the curtain back and give us a little detail about the partnership and what may be in store. So our next State of the Game chat features two guests that truly need no introduction. But if there is any chance to be getting paid, I'm probably gonna do it anyway. So give it up for Spring Hill CEO Maverick Carter and six-time All-Star and NBA MVP Joel Embiid.
Nice to see you all. It's a big day for us at the Spring Hill Company and Uninterrupted, the first ever sports film festival, but obviously would not be possible with all of you in the room, so thank you all for coming. We truly, truly appreciate you and plan on doing this for many, many years to come. This is what we dreamed about when we started the company, and can't believe it's actually here. I have to pinch myself, and one of the reasons that Uninterrupted exists is because of people like the gentleman to my left. We are very fortunate today in the room to have the reigning NBA MVP with us. Let's give it up for that. Where's the trophy at, by the way?
In the house.
Somewhere in the house back in Philly. But at Uninterrupted, we really built the company focused on building a brand that really should become a platform to give athletes a place to really tell their stories. There was a need for it. There are great, great sports media companies like ESPN and Fox, and Showtime does amazing things, and HBO. But we felt there wasn't a place that really focused on the athletes and their point of view on the storytelling. We started very small with just selfie videos, and today we're fortunate enough to have a partnership with Joel. We have one with male soccer, and we've told many, many stories. But Joel, starting with you, obviously, what year are you in the NBA now?
I think this is about to be my 10th year.
10th year, wow. I remember when you first came in the league, I did not know you. Joel and I started our relationship about 2 or 3 years ago and became very close, fast friends. But when you first came in the league, you obviously embraced and kind of had this brand that was about, not about you, but about the whole team of Philly. It became about you, which was the process and trust the process. But then you also had this personality that was very clear to the world through Twitter, through trolling and being funny. Were you doing that on purpose, thinking about storytelling and thinking about what you wanted to be, or were you just being you?
I think I was just being me. I think that was always my personality. Getting into the league, I think obviously missing my first 2 years was huge, and I had to find something else to do to keep the conversation going. And I just figured, I was like, Twitter was something that I could use in my advantage and just show my personality. I did that. I love trolling. I love talking trash, and so it's fun.
And by the way, by the time you ended up on the court after your first 2 years, people you trolled and gave shit to on the court, did they try and come back at you on the court?
Yeah, they did, and it was never successful. I'm just better.
Exactly. That is a fact, and proven and voted on this year. And I think, since meeting you, but before meeting you, you're one of the most fascinating people that I've ever met. Talk to us a little bit about your background. Obviously, grew up in Cameroon and then spent some time in many different places around the world.
Yeah, my story is extremely interesting. Obviously, grew up in Cameroon and my whole life, basically, and didn't move to the U.S. until I was 16, and that's actually when I started playing basketball. I never knew I would be in this position. Anyways, I've always thought, that was just an opportunity to come to the U.S., get a degree, and make something out of my life and help my family. And I always say, my life is like a movie. Everything just happens so fast. From 16 years old, you started to play basketball, and within 3 years, you make it to the league, and you miss your first 2 years, and you come back and you start playing, and a bunch of stuff happens. So, yeah, my life is a movie, but I think everything happened for a reason.
So you've only been playing basketball for 13 years, essentially?
If your math is correct.
And at what point did you feel like you had a handle on the game? Like, did you feel like, oh shit, I know how to do this. I could be really good at this?
I would say probably not until probably the first game. So my third year in the league. That's when I figured before that, obviously a lot of people were talking, always saying, he has good potential, but then again, some of them would always say, he might never play because of my foot injury. So as soon as I stepped on the floor the first time, and I remember I hit that turnaround jumper, I was like, yeah, this is easy.
Do you remember who was guarding you?
It was, I think it was Andrew Hawkins against OKC.
Yes, he's kind of small though, he's short.
Yeah, I think it was a mismatch, and
But according to you, and if my eyes are correct, we know my math is correct because it's been 13 years, but my eyes also, everybody's kind of a mismatch for you.
You could see that. I try to be humble, but I also like to show that I'm who I am.
Totally.
That's just me. That's just the personality. That's extremely competitive.
And so you spent 1 year at Kansas?
Yeah.
And in that 1 year at Kansas, did you start to look at, obviously you were playing a game of basketball, but obviously in America and globally, the game of basketball is a business. Did you realize that in Kansas? Because college basketball, as you know, is a big business. Or did you not realize that until you got to the league?
I didn't, because when I got to Kansas, I had no idea I would make it to the league. I thought, I was just there to get a degree. I'd probably rush my first year and be there for 4 or 5 years. I remember Coach Self, he used to tell me, it was like, you're gonna be a #1 pick. But then again, I was like telling myself, I was like, they always told me that college coaches lie anyway, so I was like, I'm not gonna believe it. I'm just gonna, try to work as hard as possible, and wherever it takes me, I take it. That's how that happened. That, business didn't really start until I've always figured out, I got to the league, and I've always figured out I was like, I gotta focus on, this day first. And then once I established myself, I wanted to surround myself with people like you, some of the other people that I'm friends with, just so I can learn and, just giving me a different perspective about life and business.
Really, and obviously that first conversation we had, I'll never forget. You were so curious and asked so many questions, which reminded me of myself. I'm just not, 7 foot and can't win the MVP, but the way you thought reminded me of how I thought. And on your journey, and as you said, your life is like a movie, and you're learning, what are some of the things you still want to learn about business, life, and everything else?
I'm a great listener and observer, so anything I can learn, I think the main thing that I've come to find out is, to surround yourself with, great people, smart people, and I think you actually gave me that advice. Michael did too. You always gotta ask questions. It doesn't matter. No question is, dumb enough. Anytime you have a question and you want to learn something, you just gotta go for it.
Absolutely. And you've obviously started your company. Tell us the name. Tell the audience the name and kind of the inspiration for just the name. Where did that come from?
The name is Miniature Géant. So, long story short, Cameroon is usually, another nickname for Cameroon is African Miniature, meaning everything that you can find in Africa, you're gonna find it in Cameroon. So I wanted to have a part of, where I'm from, to kind of represent that. And then we also took that with the trolling aspect of myself. So when you think of something like, something can be miniature and géant at the same time. Géant, is French word for, big, tall, but then again, miniature géant, something can be small and, big at the same time. So we just figured we were like, that was perfect. That would represent my roots, and that also represent, who I am, my personality, and the trolling aspect.
Absolutely. And we are very fortunate at Uninterrupted to be your partner. We take that very seriously and plan on building an amazing company through the lens of the stories that matter to you and that you care about. But as you think about what you want to do with your company as a storytelling company that is going to become a huge brand, how do you think about what stories you want to tell that matter to you? Obviously, they won't all pertain to you, meaning you won't be in them all or about you, but what are some of the things that you do want to talk about with your company?
I mean, first of all, I feel like my story has been told, but it's never been told the right way. I feel like, it's extremely inspiring. Like I've always said, I grew up in Cameroon, Africa, starting to play basketball so late, and to be able to be sitting here in front of you guys is unbelievable. We don't get a lot of these opportunities, so I'm extremely blessed. I just want to inspire people, and then through the other stories that we want to tell is the same thing. We want to find unique things that can captivate people's mind, and so they can learn from it, that they can get inspired.
And you've talked about, obviously, when we started the company with you, about also inspiring future generations. So when you think about that, and you think about what your company will do, what Miniature Géant will do, to tell stories to some kid that's the 14-year-old version of yourself, how do you think about inspiring that generation of people? And you do it obviously on a global basis because basketball is global, but also who you are a citizen of the world. Because how many languages do you speak with? Three. So how do you think about inspiring future generations? Because you talked a lot about that.
One of the things that I said when I won the MVP award, I said, empowerment doesn't make impossible. Anything you set your mind to, you can accomplish it. No matter where you're from, no matter as small of an opportunity you get. So, that's, always what I've been focused on, and that's what I want people to see, because, that I really believe that I live the dream. I live the American dream. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I know it's possible. So that's what I want people to, take from it.
Totally. And you obviously are an athlete who's at the top of your sport, the best in the league, MVP, obviously continuing to strive for more and want to win more, do more, win more MVPs, win championships, which I believe you will absolutely do. But also you're focused on other things too. How do you strike the balance of being the best that you, in the back, we were just talking about you back working out, feeling good on the court. How do you strike that balance between business, building a company, telling stories, but also continuing to be the best in the world at what you do?
I mean, there's a reason why, there's 24 hours in a day. I just walked out this morning. Now I'm here doing that, so there's a lot of time to be able to fit everything that you want to do. So, I always understand that the main focus is basketball. I got to be able to perform because that's my job. But then again, I also understand now, like, what do I want to do? What am I interested in? Like, what does my future look like? What's the legacy I want from, my kid? That's something that, 3 years ago, when I became a dad, that was a, big game changer. It just changed my whole perspective about how I saw life, and, that helped me a lot. And, I just wanted to, go out and I started thinking about what is my legacy, what do I want? I want to help as many people as possible, and then also, what do I want for my family and my kids, when it comes to business.
Totally. And when you think about storytelling, and as an athlete, you're in front of the press every single day, right? So microphones at practice, and on game days every day. How do you see the difference between the kind of ongoing during the season, everyday news cycle versus what you do at Miniature Géant, which is more long form storytelling? How do you see the difference in those two things?
I mean, it's completely different. I have a bunch of great examples. In the playoffs, you lose. In the heat of the moment, you might say something and people go out and, they twist your word and, you can't control that. But, with your company, your business, you control the narrative. You tell the story you want. You tell the stories you want people to hear. You tell the stories you want people to be inspired of. So that's what I see. I think that's the biggest difference.
And does that frustrate you at times during the year? Because right, this NBA season specifically, but all seasons are so long. My favorite part, besides the game, I love the game, I love watching. Some people watch it and just think athletes are super amazing, can run, jump fast, but if you know the game enough, there's really a chess match going on underneath the kind of athleticism. But then there needs to be storylines, right? So going into next season, you guys' storyline is a bit up in the air, depends what happens with James.
Yeah.
But there's always stories of like, this team, Denver's story is gonna be, can they repeat?
Yeah.
Your personal story, can you win MVP again? There's changes, and then throughout the season, that story changes and ebbs and flows. Does that ever frustrate you, or you just kind of go along for the ride, or do you like it?
I love it. I love the challenge, but then again, I understand that, you can never get too high or too low. But I also understand that I like the challenge. I'm competitive. I like it. I like when, let's say in season, someone said, they're better than me, or, someone is playing better than me. That just, makes me want to go out and just do better for myself and my team. So we can win. So I would say it doesn't frustrate me much, but I know I understand the business. I know how it works, and people are always going to do what they want. But it's fun. At the end of the day, I always think of it like this: I'm extremely blessed to be here. I have nothing to complain. I'm just happy to be here.
And do you ever consciously go, okay, I'm going to switch the narrative, or I'm going to change the narrative about our team, about me? Do you think about it like going into a press conference after, in the middle of a playoff series or in the middle of February, like, okay, people are saying this about us, I need to go on the floor and in the press and kind of get it back going the other way?
Yeah, for sure. Basketball is more than what happens on the floor. At times, you got to set the tone if you just lost a game in the playoff side, and you're trying to send a message, not just to everybody, the opposition, but also to your teammates. You can use the media and what you say. Can push that. I have a lot of examples. My guy Tyrese, I'm always saying a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, they understand it. It's all because you want to win. At the end of the day, that's all we want. And once you have that understanding, everything is cool.
Totally. And back to your company and your life, you were talking about your life is a bit like a movie, and now you have your company, so one day we will make the movie. Who'll play you?
I actually just got asked.
It's hard to cast, by the way.
I don't know, but I like Denzel.
Why Denzel?
Oh, it's funny. He's just a great actor. He's been doing it for so long, and I like him. I just like him.
Yeah, and obviously, we've been talking about who knows when it'll be done, because you got so much life to live, so much more NBA games to play, so many more things to do and accomplish. But obviously, the doc on you one day will be made. What are you hoping when that's done, or whenever you put it out, whenever you decide, because it'll be up to you, that people will take from it, from your story?
Yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier, inspiration. Yeah, anything is possible. Improbable doesn't mean impossible. You just gotta keep believing. As long as you put in the work and you're willing to, sacrifice, anything can happen.
And when you, in the off season, do you go back to Cameroon much?
I haven't been back since COVID, which is unfortunate, but before that I used to go back every single year. This summer was a little complicated, but yeah, I got my family that come here all the time. I'm getting married in a week, so they're gonna all come and they're all gonna be here, and I'm gonna eat some good food. And
what are you looking forward to eat?
I mean, it's the same things. It's just the way it's cooked. Different, the spice.
The way it's seasoned, I got it. I'm clear on this topic. And do you see yourself as when you wake up every day and think about life, do you see yourself as an American, French, Cameroon, African? What do you, as you feel yourself in the world?
That's a good question. I never thought about it. I mean, I'm American, I'm Cameroonian, I got a French passport. I'm from all over the world. I just see myself as a cultured person.
Got it. Totally understand.
Seeing everything, I know what it's like growing up in Africa. I've seen a bunch of different cultures, so I understand it and I can relate to that.
And the reason I asked the question, thanks for answering, because with your company, do you want to tell stories from all of these different places, or are you going to focus? Is it just about Cameroon? Is it just about American stories? How are you looking at finding stories that Miniature Géant will tell?
It's all over the world. It's all about inspiring the next generation, anybody in general, and it's all about the world.
Got it. And obviously, we've been working on building a slate for your company, which is already robust and growing fast, mostly because of you. But one of the first projects we're going to do is about Green Lions, which is a story that I didn't know. So maybe you should talk a little bit about that story and kind of how you got involved.
I mean, it's a story that was before my time. That was soccer is huge in Africa.
You played growing up, right?
Yeah, I did.
Are you still good?
I have some skills.
You're just good at everything.
You can sit down. But it's about a story. So Cameroon is the first African country to reach the quarterfinals at the World Cup. So it's about a story that kind of was what happened. They were able to make it that, beating Italy, and then we ended up losing to England in the quarterfinals, which, we could have won that game too. So, being the first African country to make it to the quarterfinals was a big deal. That was before my time, but I know that story has been passed through generations. So to this day, they all talk about it, and and I'm a big soccer fan, so I know about it. So when I got presented that opportunity, I was excited about it because I love soccer more than basketball. So yeah, just from that already, I was like, yeah, I got to do it, and then that also represent my country, and the fact that I can promote Cameroon is already huge.
Yeah, when I heard about this story, it was amazing, and it felt like the perfect right story. From the first thing that your company did, and really told that story. And, even watching the World Cup this year with Morocco as an African nation went pretty far, and seeing it, but learning that it happened in 1990 was just amazing. And by the way, who do you support in soccer?
Real Madrid.
Oh, well, yes, I hate Real.
Liverpool?
Liverpool, exactly.
I didn't make it to the Champions League this year.
Exactly. Well, we've lost twice to Madrid, but that's a different story. I hate Madrid. Not as much as Man City, but I hate Madrid.
Man City's good.
Exactly. So what are your, as you get ready and get prepared for the season, big off season for you, launched your company, getting married, won the MVP, what can we expect from you going forward? That's a lot to do all in 1 year. It's incredible, but you're capable of a lot. I know it because of your skill and your brain, but what can we look forward from Joel Embiid?
I just want to win a championship. Whatever it takes. I don't know where that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or, anywhere else. I just want to have a chance to accomplish that. I want to see what it feels like to win that first one, and then you can think about, the next one. It's not easy, but, it takes more than, 1, 2, 3 guys. You gotta have, good people around you, and, like myself, every single day I work hard to, be at that level, so I can produce and make it happen. So every single day that's, working towards that goal. That's where my mindset has always been. MVP is just an added bonus, and it's not.
It's a cool added bonus.
It's amazing. I know a lot of people, take it for granted, but there's not a lot of people that get to have that opportunity to be called the MVP of the league. So I was extremely happy about it, excited about it, but the championship, that's one thing that that I gotta work hard for.
And as you're on that path, and you guys have gotten further and further, and some years further than others, it's extremely challenging. I can hear it in your voice, and I obviously know it and lived it and seen it. But do you like the challenge, or is it frustrating?
I like the challenge. Can be frustrating at times because over and over and over, same things might happen. There's never any continuity. All my years in the league, I can feel like every single year it's always been, different teams. Like, usually it's always been change. But I do like the challenge. It doesn't matter who's on my team. I just want to go out and try to do the best job possible to put us in a position to win.
You're looking forward, because business is as challenging also. And you've kind of know this now because of the people you're around. Are you looking forward to the challenges in business the same way?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think, I wanted to learn. From the first conversation that we had, I was extremely excited about it. Want to learn as much as possible. I think the thing with me, I'm just going in there. Obviously, I want to be successful, and I'm going to be successful. But for me, it's also learning experience, and I think I've already learned a lot, and there's so much more to learn.
Joel, thank you for being at the first ever Uninterrupted Film Festival. We appreciate you being a partner, a fantastic partner, and we look forward to the challenges of building Miniature Géant. And we're going to do it, and we're going to go win more MVPs and championships, same way you'll do with Philly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to you guys, and thank you to Philly.
consistent, when we'll work it. You go first. Right here first. Easy. Okay, Johnny, I'll go next. Middle guys. Yeah, after the laughing. Okay, guys, right here in the middle, Got it, and then right here. Oh, dang, you got my pictures.